Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of WossyRadio. So today, we need to take a look at Game 1, Round 1 of the second Dragon Gym Challenge. I'm excited for this, ladies and gentlemen. I've been waiting for this one. This is the alternate rules tournament put together by the lovely Dragon Shield, the lovely Stefan Eriksson, and myself. I don't think it's really fair to say I'm lovely. That seems like a decision that should be made by other people rather than me. But I can tell you we've got two rather lovely competitors in this game. We've got the lovely Birdkeeper Toby. He's a bit of a big deal. He's going to be playing Darkness using products like these. And I'll be honest with you, pressure's kind of on here, Toby, because Darkness won the first Dragon Gym Challenge and Darkness won the qualifier. His opponent is going to be the lovely Kenny Wisdom playing Fire using products like these. And Kenny was going to be in the Dragon Gym Challenge 1 before scheduling conflicts reared their ugly heads, but he's in this one. And I, for one, am rather excited. Remember, we are playing 2 copies of every card, rather than 4, other than basic energy. We are banning GXs, tag teams, Vs, all of that stuff, and Prism stars. And you're only allowed to use your colour and colourless, though it must be more of your colour. So grab yourselves a nice cold beverage, sit down, relax, and enjoy the very first game from the second Dragon Gym Challenge. Yay! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we've got Toby on the top, we've got Kenny on the bottom, unless, of course, I've chosen to go side by side, in which case we've got Toby on the left, Kenny on the right, but I'm fairly sure I'm doing top and bottom. It looks better to me. Any opinions you've got, do let me know in the comment section. So it looks like Kenny has gone and started with a Volcanion here, which is a great starter for his fire deck, and Toby looks like he's got a Minccino and a Trubbish, which... I mean, he's not going to be attacking very much with either of those, but certainly in terms of having those basics to evolve into stage 1 to get rolling in the not too distant future, it's hard to be terribly upset with Toby's start there, though he is likely going to have to get that Minccino out the active at some point. So Kenny here is going to be playing his Fiery Flint, discarding a couple of fire energy, well, a couple of cards from his hand, to go and search for 4 fire energy, which is frankly, well, it's a lot of fire energy, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's an awful lot of fire energy. But this is a good thing, because that's how this deck rolls. Of course, when you're playing Volcanion, there's a strong argument that going second is actually better, because if you go second on your first turn, you get to search your deck for free fire energy and attach them to your Pokemon. It's a great early game attack. But Kenny's gone first. He doesn't get the early game attack, so... maybe something we shouldn't be worrying too much about. Now, we do see Toby playing an Evolution Incense here. Going to be able to get himself an evolved Pokemon of his choosing. He is not actually going to be able to evolve this turn, unfortunately. What will the whole, you can't evolve the turn you play a Pokemon. Which is sad, but I'm sure he'll get over it in time. There is an argument not to do this turn 1, because of course there is a chance that Kenny drops something like a reset stamp, or he drops a Marnie to shuffle that card back into Toby's hand. It also does give Kenny a little bit of advance information, but there might be other cards that Toby is going to play. And it looks like he's got himself a switch there, a nice old school Diamond and Pearl era switch, putting his Trubbish in the active. Now, I do like that move, because no, you don't want to lose Trubbish because it can evolve into Garbodor. That's the one that poisons if there's a stadium in play. But the fact of the matter is, he wants to be able to, he needs Cinccino for draw power. Now, he does get himself a Guzzlord down. Guzzlord, of course, being one of the cards that David used to beat Toby in round 1 of the previous Dragon Gym Challenge. I love that Guzzlord. It takes 4 energy, so it's not going to be attacking in the next turn or 2, but it's something that Toby can be working on for the future. Now, it does actually have a single energy attack that discards the top card of his opponent's deck, but that's not really what you want to be using Guzzlord for. We did actually see David use that attack to beat Jack in a phenomenal game in top 4 of the last challenge, but it's not going to win the game here. So we do see Kenny there just playing a couple of fire energy down with a welder. Lets him attach 2 fire energy to one of his Pokemon and then draw 3 cards. If he can get 1 more energy on the field, he is actually going to be able to hit for 110 damage and just get a flat KO on that Trubbish, which is exactly what he does. Does 110 damage and just gets the KO there. And he's not really... That Guzzlord doesn't pose a threat right now, because it takes 4 energy. Now, it does take an extra prize when you take a KO, but it takes 4 energy in order to actually do a damage-dealing attack here. It's not a realistic thing. Now, when Kenny's down to 4 prizes, maybe Toby drops a Beast Ringer. No. Beast Ring. There we go. Beast Bringer is the tool that lets you take extra prizes. A Beast Ring. But that's not something that's on the table for him in this particular turn, unfortunately. So, hey-ho. It ain't happening. Might as well just get on with our lives. Now, we do see a Cynthia coming down from Toby here. This is a really nice one. Just lets him shuffle his hand into his deck and draw a new hand of 6 cards. It's going to be extremely nice just to get himself an extra hand of 6 cards. We saw that last turn Toby did not have an explosive turn, but between the Cynthia now and obviously he's got Cinccino to draw cards as well, that is going to really help him to get rolling as time goes by. Now, he does drop another Cynthia to draw 2 cards with Cinccino, drops himself an Eevee, obviously looking to evolve into Umbreon in the future, and I love this play from Toby here, because he knows that Guzzlord might go down, or something else might go down, but he also knows that Umbreon hits 120, which will get a KO on Volcanion, so he's basically saying to Kenny, look, you can get a KO here, right? You can go and get a KO if you really want to, but if you do, I'm just going to KO you right back if I have an Umbreon. Bearing in mind, I've got Cinccino in play, so I'm likely to be able to draw into it. We do also see him dropping down a Lily's Pokédoll there. It's just an item card that poses as a Pokemon and doesn't give up a prize. It's really nice for buying yourself some time and just hurting your opponent. Now, we do see a Palpad coming down here, getting that Welder and that Marnie back into Kenny's deck here. Lets you recover a couple of supporter cards. It is undoubtedly a good thing. It's nice to be able to recover supporter cards. It's fun. And it looks like we are just seeing the 110. And Kenny is in a good position not taking the KO here, let's be clear. Kenny does not want the KO on Guzzlord this turn, because he knows taking the KO on Guzzlord means that all Toby needs is an Umbreon to win the game, and that is not something that Kenny wants to walk into. So, getting a bit of damage on there, softening Guzzlord up for the future, yes. Taking a KO and giving Toby a really easy route to victory, no. Because remember that Umbreon only does 120 if your opponent took a KO on the previous turn. So even if Toby gets the Umbreon and the switch here, he's still not actually going to be able to get a KO, because he needs to be able to do the full 120 to knock out that Volcanion. So make no mistake about it, this is a good thing for Kenny to not take the KO. Now we do see a little bit more drawing here with Cinccino. Gotta love that Cinccino. You do see Toby actually putting a second energy on that Umbreon, just to potentially use Dark Cutter for 60. At this stage, Toby has basically gone, look, that Guzzlord is probably not going to be able to use the attack. It's so close to being KO'd, so there's no point putting any more energy on it. I might as well start working on my Umbreon. Now, we do see a Pokemon communication coming down here. Could this be for a nice early Umbreon? Maybe. It is an Umbreon. There is an Umbreon coming out quite nicely here. It is worth pointing out, I'm looking through Toby's trainer cards here, there are actually no copies of Beast Ring in his deck, so he's choosing not to go for that fun but potentially silly combo, and going far more into, you know what, I'm just going to be focusing a little bit more on a bit more consistency. Guzzlord remains an option, but not one he's going to be running headfirst into. I mean, Kenny, for his part, Kenny needs something here. Kenny needs something coming down. We did see a big charm, incidentally, coming down onto that Umbreon, giving it a little bit more HP. And we just see milling a single card from Guzzlord here. And actually, it looks like those two cards that Toby's milled were Marnie and Cynthia. So Toby is inadvertently just going through all of Kenny's supporters. Remember, you can only play 2 copies of each card in the format we've devised here. Stefan, Dragon Shield, and myself. So milling that 1 copy of Cynthia, that 1 copy of Marnie is actually really good. And is that Kenny's? No. I remember, Kenny cannot KO that Guzzlord. Because now the Umbreon's out. If Kenny takes the KO, it's game. Kenny KOing the Guzzlord is game for Toby. Kenny cannot take a KO here. Kenny has had a very bad start to this game. Annoyingly, usually, starting with the Volcanion and getting the early game Welder. Oh, we do see Koga's Trap coming down here. That will be Confusion and Poison onto that Volcanion. So that's the Poison 1 damage counter between turns, and the Confusion that will do 30 damage if Kenny flips Tails on a Confusion flip. That is going to add up very quickly. That's the kind of thing that lets your Umbreon doing 60 damage legitimately start taking KOs. And is that a Krogunk we've got coming down here? Krogunk evolves into Toxicroak. Toxicroak puts more poison damage on, an extra 2 damage counters for poison between turns. So that poison from Koga's Trap combined with Toxicroak, that is going to add up very quickly. And what Toby's doing with this play so beautifully here is he's putting Kenny on a clock. He's basically saying to Kenny, look, mate, if you don't get another attacker soon, if you don't give me something else to try and go through in the next couple of minutes, the next turn or 2 really, that Volcanion is going to go down and I am going to win the game. And let's not forget, it's not just that Kenny has been drawing badly here. Twice, Toby has milled a supporter that Kenny would have drawn into. He would have top-decked the Marnie. He would have top-decked the Cynthia if Toby hadn't got rid of them with Guzzlord. So this isn't just Kenny drawing badly, this is also Toby taking advantage of the milling. Yes, I know the card that gets milled is random, but that doesn't mean that Toby hasn't made good decisions by doing the milling here. Yes, there's been a bit of luck on Toby's side, but if he'd been trying to chip away with Umbreon, Kenny would probably be far better positioned in this game right now. So we do see the energy going on to Krogunk there. Toxicroak, not generally one we see as a particularly good attacker, so to speak. It's not generally the thing you're looking to attack with. But 70 damage for free energy, flip a coin if heads poison, it's fine. Again, it's not what we're looking for. This is not what Toby's deck's trying to go for, but it's there if you need it. Toby really wants to be attacking with stuff like Umbreon and stuff like Guzzlord. That would be his preference here. But you got to remember, even though Toxicroak looks like it's not doing enough damage, Toby is really piling on with a poison. Now, the good news for Kenny is that he has... Wait a second. He has managed to get himself into a Salandit there, which is very, very nice. So at least there's something a bit more. And there's an energy going down on Salandit. Now again, Salazzle is not something that Kenny's going to want to be attacking with. That's not really the point here. But like we said, if that's the only attacker you've got on the field, if that's your only option, why not? And here's the thing, right? Toby is getting a lot of work put in here, and he hasn't even had to bring up that Umbreon. Now, one thing I am looking at from Toby's side of the board, there is no backup attacker other than that Toxicroak. But then again, Toxicroak will work as a nice backup attacker, bearing in mind it's also doing the extra damage from poison, which will kick in on a heads flip. Although it looks like Toby's working on a Garbodor as well. So now we see Kenny is taking the KO. We do see a KO there on the Guzzlord, and Kenny takes the first prize, but make no mistake about it, Toby is very, very much in pole position here. Now, he has put the Liddy's Pokédoll active after the KO, and this is something we see an awful lot of players doing. It gives you more time, if you don't have a free retreater at least, it gives you more time to think, it lets you really consider what you want to be putting active. Although it is almost certainly going to be the Umbreon. Of course, it also does mean that Toby can put it on the bottom of his deck and clear an extra bench space here, which very may well be something he wants to do. Now, we do see the Toxicroak coming down here, so that's that extra poison damage. And we see the third energy. So now, I've said about Toby not having a backup attacker. Toby legitimately now does have 2 attackers ready to roll. I still think Umbreon's a better option here, because Toxicroak has that really nice utility for the poison. But I love that we've now got that backup attacker rolling here. Now, the other option, of course, for Toby is just to leave Lily's Pokédoll in the active. Oh, it's, is that a switch he's playing there? He's able to get himself to the bench anyway there. So he does switch into the Umbreon there. And that's a lovely way to get the KO with Umbreon. That's a very good thing. Oh, it was a boss's orders. I couldn't see, I should have seen for the fact that the active of Kenny changed as well. So he did bring up that Salandit and get the KO. And again, that's a very astute move. Because Salandit evolves into Salazzle. Salazzle lets you discard a fire energy from your hand and draw 3 cards. It's Kenny's draw engine. And Toby's just taken it away. So again, we could look at this game and go, oh, Kenny's drawn really badly. And let's be clear, Kenny hasn't drawn great. But it's also Toby's decisions that have made life hard for Kenny. That boss's orders, you know, he could have taken down the only viable attacker. He could have and Kenny actually had Salazzle in hand. We see Salazzle being dropped from the giant half to search out energy. Kenny was going to have Salazzle, which was then going to allow him to draw a bunch of cards. That boss's orders from Toby was absolutely huge. Quite possibly a game-winning play. It's going to be remaining to be seen what actually Kenny has here. But unless Kenny's got something else rolling quickly, you know, Toby's got the Umbreon, he's got the Toxicroak, he's got the Chinchino. That Garboda's ready to evolve, hopefully. And there is so much going for Toby here, and he is just frustrating Kenny at every turn. And it is starting to look like there's not much way back for Kenny here. Now, we do see 110 damage coming down onto the Umbreon from Volcanion, because there are 4 energy on the field. But that's kind of irrelevant, honestly. We are going to see Toby digging for the Garboda here, because the Garboda will, of course, provide poison, which that Toxicroak turns into 3, which will do 90 damage in total. But there is not much going for Kenny here at all. Oh, we do see the Garboda. Now, there is a stadium in play, although it looks like Toby is choosing to play his own stadium. No? Is he playing his own stadium there? He is getting rid of Kenny's stadium. He is playing his own stadium. Stadium of choice for Toby here. He's got Dark City and Chaotic Swell. That is the Dark City, the one that gives free retreat. And we see the poison coming down. And Toby's going to hit for 60 with the treble poison. Is that going to be enough? That is going to be enough. We see a virtual handshake, and unfortunately, Kenny cannot get any other Pokemon down, and we see a fairly quick win from Toby. Taking out the Salandit on the bench with boss's orders when it was ready to evolve, using those couple turns of Mountain Eater, those were the things that led Toby to victory here. So congratulations to Toby moving on into the top 4, and commiserations to the lovely Kenny Wisdom. I'm friends with Toby, I'm friends with Kenny, they are both lovely dudes. Thank you to both of them for taking part. Kenny unfortunately bowing out, Toby moving on, and of course, lots more games to come from the first round and then the subsequent round. We are on a strict schedule this time round. We are going to be seeing a video every 3 days. We are recording them in advance. We are planning in advance. We've changed a whole bunch of stuff. So unlike last time, we are going to have a very strict 1 video every 3-day schedule. So set your watches, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe we do them all with live premieres. Wink. For now, tell me what you thought about their decks. Tell me what you thought about their games. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.